Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Sherry Moyes here. And I am so excited today because I have company with me on this Tuesday. I have my friend and client, Ashley Hubler, with me. Welcome, Ashley.
Hi, so nice to be here.
So fun to get to hang out with you live in group. So good to have you here. So I thought it would be really fun today, instead of me just kind of bantering at you all um, about the topic, that we actually could have a little discussion, and we could share with you and learn a bit through Ashley's journey. So I thought that would be a more fun way to do it today. So I'm excited to have you here, Ashley. Thank you. And maybe you can just tell us just a little bit like where you're from, and um, we'll get into the who you serve in a little bit, but just maybe a couple fun facts about Ashley.
So, I am from about an hour southeast of Houston. I currently live just outside of Fort Hood in Killeen. I am just fresh out of the Army, and I am so grateful I met Sherry because I just went from one direction to a completely different direction as I transitioned out of the Army. So, I'm very grateful.
Oh, well, and I'm grateful to have met you, and grateful that you did, for your service to the country, but then that you found your way to being of service in a different way, which we're going to explore here in a bit. And for those of you joining us live, make sure that you've given StreamYard permission so that we can see your comments. Would love to see any of your comments in the chat. All right, today's topic is around the power of your who in your business. And this is one that I'll try to not get too much on my soapbox about. But as we look to, we've been talking a lot about the roadmap to soul clients. And as most of you know, or if you don't know yet, I've got workshops coming up later this week. We're going to dive into this deeply. And as you look at creating your own roadmap in your business to really connect with those soul clients. And one of the things that gets me frustrated is that there are a lot of folks out there that will tell you, oh, it's just easy. Like, just pick your who. Fill out this template, right? Like, fill in the blanks. Like, where do they hang out? What kind of beverages do they drink? And I have a slightly different approach to it than that, because I think it misses the mark in a lot of ways, and it keeps people stuck and frustrated. Um, and I think, Ashley, you had a light bulb moment in the spring when I was doing actually a live about this topic, and you were like, "Wait a minute, can you tell us about that?"
So I was trying to answer your question, and I thought I was like doing a great job. I was so proud of my response. And then Sherry replies underneath me, and she's like, "No, you need to get clearer." And I'm like, "What do you mean get clearer? That's not clear enough." Like, I had no idea what she was talking about. And I just kept trying, and I kept going like the corporate route, right? And I'm like, go this way. And like, it's not, that was not easy.
But you stuck with it, and you have figured it out. And that's really the key. I mean, we can't connect with our soul clients if we really don't know who we're talking to. And people, and this is a different conversation than niching, right? Um, there is, we need to be talking to a particular person. When our copy, all the information that we put out there, when we know, like, I know I'm talking to Ashley, like, she's my soul client. I understand her desires, her wishes, her fears at a deep level, then my marketing is going to flow with more ease. And people will stay stuck at the surface level of their who. I did it for a long time. I was like, oh, I help midlife women who, are feeling stuck, and I help them to, live their best life, which is a really nice sentiment, but it doesn't tell you anything about that person really, except they're in midlife. And I'm not, doesn't really connect the dots, right? So, and I think that's where you were, Ash, at the time, right? You were high level, trying to capture as many who's as possible, right?
Yeah, one of the big things that I didn't want to do was limit myself. I felt like the more clear, more specific I got, the less people that I would be talking to and reaching, which I mean is true, but not true at the same time, because I quickly learned through Sherry's program, that if you're talking to a general swath of people, you're not really going to catch anybody's attention. So being able to narrow down my who has tremendously helped me in actually getting the people that I want to get. And, you don't have to just stick with that one thing, which helped me a lot in realizing, I could have a couple different who's or variations. And as long as I'm just speaking to that one version, I actually get the responses that I've been like trying and trying and trying to get.
Yeah. So I talk about like we can fish in the ocean or we can fish in a watering hole, right? Like, and where are we going to? Yeah, we may connect with some clients, like, and I know Ashley connected with clients before we started working together. I certainly connected with some clients, but it was a struggle. It's really hard to fish in the ocean. And it's not because the information on our line isn't good. It's just that we're trying to fish in the ocean or we're throwing darts at a wall with no dartboard. So getting clear, getting specific, but not in the way that we're traditionally taught. Like I said, this isn't a checklist where you can go, I didn't give you a checklist. Ashley was like, oh, yeah, here, go and tell me where they live and what they do and what, that's not and I've got a million of those forms in my inspiration folder, and they remind me that that's not the way to do it. But there's some of that we need to know. We want to know where your people hang out, but who are you talking to? What is it that really deeply they desire? And there's quite a range of depth to that, which is really powerful. So maybe Ashley, you can tell us like if you remember, like where you started, like where you felt like what was the big broad, so we can give people an example.
Well, I wasn't talking about my who, I was talking about my how.
There's that.
Yeah, and I swore that the algorithms hated me and that no matter what I did, Facebook just like put all my posts at the very bottom and made them invisible.
And that's really typical that I find people are talking, and I preach this often. Ashley hears me in her head, I'm sure. No one cares about how you do it. They care about the transformation. Like they want to know how their life is going to be differently, how their business is going to be different after working with you. But really, how you get them there isn't that important. And often as experts, we're like, but I want to tell you about my credentials and all the different things we're going to do together. I want to give you the full list. Oh, really? Am I calling you out?
I'm feeling attacked over here.
No. It's normal. Like this is what we want to do because we want people to know that we can help them, right? And so we want to share all the ways in which we're going to help and support. But really they need to know that we can fix their problem, which is a different layer of understanding. The how doesn't matter. There's a little bit of the how people want to know, but they really want to know that I'm here and you're going to get me here. This is what I want. And are you the person that can do that for me? So what do you feel like, shifted for you? I know there were a few light bulb moments during the process as you've been in the Soul Client Alignment program. Any ones in particular that stand out?
As I went through the process and the pieces started like coming together, I started realizing, hey, what I have now isn't quite working and I have to go back and adjust things. But I mean, I know you intentionally did that because I'm so stubborn. I have to figure it out myself. So I think the biggest thing that really kind of hit me was right towards the end when I finally like started putting my pieces together through the process, and I really like pulled back out my who. Like it's written on a card right here, and I keep it on my desk to remind myself when I'm like writing posts and stuff. Who am I talking to? Um, I realized that I was really focused like in my own head, and I needed to get myself into their head. And I was just sharing with one of my friends from the program earlier. One of the things that really helps me is just kind of like close my eyes and put myself in their shoes and talk to that person as if I'm talking to that person instead of, doing one of those like MLM gimmicky, question posts where you're just like saying a whole lot of words without saying anything, which drives me crazy. But it didn't have to be that way.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so important. And I know even, during the summit, Laura DeFranco talked about this idea of like, imagine you're writing to your friend, like when we can have, but we really need to, this is that, heart connection, that dropping in, that piece of like embodiment that we've been talking about, right? Where you're leaning in, like, I'm excited to talk to you, to check on you, to connect with you. You're not just another number in my world. You're this human being that I know and deeply understand and want to help, and who knows that you can help them. And that's my definition of a soul client, is that person that you're excited to support, and who knows and truly deeply understands that you can support them as well, that two-way street has been established. And the only way we establish that is if people get that you can help them with their problems. And if you're not talking about what their experience is like, then they're stuck.
I mean, honestly, when I signed up for the program, I don't think I even remember what I was getting. I just remember talking and was like, next thing I know, I'm signing up. I'm like, yes, this is what I need. But I remember I was talking to Lane, and I was like, I don't know what it involves, but it's the right thing.
And that's a beautiful place for people to be. And that's often been my experience as well. Like, we have this connection, right? We feel this pull, and people will say to me often, like, I don't even know why, how you came across my feed or why this showed up here right now, but I know. And that's about the energy, the frequency that we're putting out. And the more we are connected to it and thinking about and talking to our who, the more that people will raise their hand and say, it's me, versus you having to find them in a haystack, which is often what it can feel like, right? Out there, whether you're networking out in the world or you're on social media. So what kind of results? I know you mentioned that, before when we connected, you were, you felt like the Facebook algorithm was poised against you.
I swear that happened.
I know. Well, it just was, pointing in the wrong direction because it didn't know who to connect you with. So I know, just saying.
So I have been in the energy of play since we started kind of wrapping up the end of soul client alignment, and I have about 4 posts that I have put out there to really try to draw in my soul clients for my 6-month program. And I have had about 15 or so leads in the span of less than a month. I don't know. Which significantly better, but at the same time, I'm not hating my life trying to build posts. So one of my posts was up for less than 24 hours, and I already had 5 people messaging me, and I was like, what is this? What did I do?
You're talking to your who, so it's resonating. And did you ever in the past have that kind of response to what you were writing, but you were putting more content out right before than you are even now. I mean,
there were times, yes, where I was just like, I had all this time, so I was just constantly like doing different things, trying to mimic what I saw, thinking, that's what I was supposed to do. But at the same time, I kind of liked the catchy questions.
well, if we're putting the right catchy question on a post, then we'll catch people's attention. But we need to, know who we're talking to.
So I think it was, I don't remember if it was you that said it first to me or Laura DeFranco, but said, don't be clever, be clear. And that hit hard. Because I try to make those like little clever, like tongue-in-cheek type of things, especially in the past. And I'm like, that doesn't really help people, especially through text. People don't understand that I'm being sarcastic and trying to be funny.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's awesome. So, you shifted really from, minimal leads. We won't even, the whole money conversation is a different conversation in terms of how you've stepped into your value and your worth. But just, the results you've got, and you've never offered a 6-month program at the price point that you are now, right?
Mm-mm.
And you're still talking to the same audience, but now those people that you're meant to connect with, you're connecting with, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of my clients came from referrals from like friends of friends and stuff, but it was very much this pull energy instead of like this naturally occurring, oh my God, I love her, you have to see this. And I love how your program really plays into the power of referrals and networking, because that's just something that speaks to my soul.
Yes, and I love all of you that are in the group yesterday. We're promoting each other, which is a beautiful thing. There's no competition here; it's all collaboration, which is what this group is about. We want everybody to support one another. There's so much help that's needed in the world, and we each have our own lane, and so helping each other find the right people to connect with is a really powerful way to show up. And there's plenty. There's plenty, no scarcity. Yeah. So speaking of your who, so tell us who your who is so that we know who to refer you to you.
So I help newly awakened souls, primarily women who are just really, really stuck and struggling, because when you first awaken, your life kind of seems like it's fallen upside down. Everything just doesn't really resonate anymore. You are having trouble with your relationships, wondering how you tolerated this person the whole time. Like, I've been here 10 years. So, you're really looking at your relationships, not just like your significant other, but like your family too, and your friends. And you're just like, how are we still talking? So that, and then, their jobs, in a lot of cases, they start to really realize they're not happy in those jobs. They're miserable. And as things start to progress, they start to like have these own self-realizations, and then they just don't know what to do. They're overwhelmed, they're stuck, they're frustrated, and anytime they go to a spiritual form, they're like, they see all these like vague concepts, but it doesn't make sense. So that's where I step in, and I help them step out of that struggle energy, because I've been there. Oh, have I been there? We won't get into that right now. But, step out of that struggle energy and really embrace their inner authenticity. So that way they can start to co-create a life that they actually want, that they truly deserve, and find their own power, so that they have the courage and have that permission to step out of those things that don't serve them, and they can let go of those relationships, that job, and find new, better things. And truly experience happiness, because a lot of my clients, when they come to me, their intentions are, oh, I want to be happy, or I want stability and a peaceful life, but they don't know how to get that, or what it takes, or what it means really, because in most of the cases they haven't really experienced it.
And it's that spiritual awakening or something that's triggered this like chain reaction, right, in their life. And it's like, this wasn't a part of who I am, and now I don't know how to integrate it, and it's having this domino effect in my life.
Yeah. In some cases, it's more like they suddenly have a mirror placed in front of them and they've never seen their own reflection before. And they're just like, well, who am I? I've had clients where they're just like, they realize suddenly that they're just living up to everybody else's expectations and they don't know who they are underneath that. So, I mean, when you awaken, it can really be a tough time. Dark night of the soul is a commonly referred to term for those moments where you're just like, you're stuck, you're in the dark, and you don't know where the light is.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. So you've used a phrase that's very common if you're awake and you know what that means, but we don't, in your copy, that person may not know. So we have to talk about, right, like what does that look like? There's a beautiful story post around like, I was, what did that dark night of the soul look and feel like, and what was your experience? So that's the difference. Like, really separating, we need to meet people where they're at and use their language. And one of the first things that we do, but in the very early phases of soul client alignment, it's all about discovery, and actually getting out of our own head and into the head of the people that we think are our soul clients. And that was really, I know for you were, when we went through your list, you thought these certain people were your who, and then you were like, when I questioned you more deeply, you were like, okay, no.
Yeah. And then, vocabulary as well was another hard learning point for me because I would use a lot of those technical terms and I had to really work consciously on using terms that people that have never been exposed to the spiritual community would identify with. So, I've definitely learned a lot in the past 3-4 months. I've lost track.
Yes, we're in month 4, wrapping up the program, and you're all in your earning while you're learning phase, which is so I love, because now I'm like the proud mama as they all message me with all their new clients but mostly that they're soul clients, that they're excited that we're not in this energy of like just working with anybody for less than we deserve, and underestimating our own value. So this is the part of the program where it's light bulb moments all the way along, but I love seeing you all as it comes together and it's all tied in, and everyone has, really calling in these beautiful soul clients that you get to support, and like now the rubber hits the road and the fun begins.
And it's a process that you can keep using too. So
yes,
all the benefits.
So if you were going to, just share one thing that, if there is one thing, like what's one of the things that you'll hold on to as you go forward in this process that you think, in terms of your who, that, you'll continue to come back to so that you stay in this energy?
I had to really let go of the fact that I could speak to other people that weren't as spiritually open. Especially like in my previous targeting, it was just anybody. And I think one of the big things that I learned is I have boundaries, and I have like my, what did we call it? Your red lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so making sure that I integrate that in my who, so that as I'm writing posts and copy, that's marketing, by the way, in case you didn't know, and I'm speaking to like a 4-month ago version of me. That's just marketing posts. Sorry, I had to throw that side note in. So
There you
as
go.
you're writing those, you keep that in mind. So you're not calling in close to your soul clients, but they're not really. They're more like energy drains.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I really, really look for is, people being ready for that change. So one of the things that I make sure to put in my posts is if you are ready to take charge, ready to make those changes. So that way I'm not calling in those people that want me to do all the hard work, because it's just impossible. I can't do that.
Yes. What are your non-negotiables?
Non-negotiables. That's what I was
Non-negotiables.
looking for.
Yes, yeah. Because it is a two-way street with our who. Like it's not just it's there is an energy there that we need to respect for ourselves and for them. So what are the non-negotiables that that person needs to have in order to be a great fit to work with you? That's another piece of the puzzle. So the foundational piece of setting up your framework, your anti-marketing framework, as I call it, is really understanding yourself at a really deep level. That's the foundational piece. And then we build off our who and our where and our how, and we've got this beautiful framework. But knowing for you who lights you up, why they light you up, understanding your own value. It's a process that we go through. So, and Ashley was really great because if she wasn't, and she's a great who for me because she has a different learning style. They actually all four of you they were in this particular cohort, had a very each different learning styles, which is fantastic because it helps me to be a better teacher. And it challenges me. And Ashley's like, this isn't making sense. Can you please tell me where we're going? Yes, I can tell you where we're going. So, yeah, beautiful. Well, I am so excited for all of the amazing ladies, women that are going to get your support going forward and all the blossoming that you are doing. And you really didn't skip a beat. I mean, it's huge life change leaving, the military during our time together. And now, you had a goal financially and you're just about there with what you wanted to call in. And that's, you showing up and doing the work and sticking with it. And so I just want to honor you and your journey. It's amazing.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the way things will evolve. I think I know it's not about the who, but I think you touched on the value a lot, and that right there was an eye opener as well.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll talk about all of that. So one of the things as I later this week and early next week, I've got Soul Client Alignment Workshop, and I'll put that opt-in info. And so if you're curious, like what is this framework she's talking about and how would it apply to me and maybe where are you needing some support? So I'm going to be walking you through the exact same framework that we use in Heart, Mind, Soul Client Alignment in this Soul Client Attraction workshop. A lot of letters there. But you're going to go through the exact framework that we use, and you'll get to see for your own self maybe where those pieces are and some things you'll walk away with some ideas around where you can do some more deep dives into the different parts and pieces where you might need to shore up that framework a little bit. And then enrollment is opening this week as well for the fall winter series of Soul Client Alignment. So I'm just super excited about that. So if you're curious and you're interested at the end of the workshop, you can stay and learn more. But either way, you're going to walk away with, a powerful roadmap for yourself to get curious around if you're not calling in as many clients as you'd like to, or if you're just getting started. I wish this program had been around. And I built it because I wish I had it because it would save, I was telling my husband multiple times during this last series, like, oh my God, so much time, money, and energy they are saving by showing up and doing the work now. So that's my intention. Anything else you would want to say, Ashley, or share about the process or the program that you think would, if somebody's listening that they're curious, would know?
I think the only thing I would really say is to listen to your gut, because if this is it for you, don't wait, do it. I promise it's worth it. And I think you probably will know already at this point, but it has absolutely been life altering. And I know that even though my business is just starting, um, I have these tools for a lifetime. So I get to grow with them and they grow with me. And that right there is, I mean, invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of one of my superpowers and gifts is I'm always thinking about like how can we create a system, a process, a tool that can be rinse and repeat. And so I don't know how many times I said during the program, like, this is something you can go back to and do again and again. It's your who for now. It's always going to be for now. You're going to grow and you're going to change. So having a process to go back and do the discovery and figure out where that shift is in your new language and et cetera is really important. So I am pretty passionate about making sure that you're empowered to go out in the world once you've left my nest and do your thing. And I trust that Ashley, you will be able to do that because you're an amazing student and a soul client for me, somebody who shows up, puts in the work, and who's willing to look inside and ask those questions. I just want people who are going to be open and curious. That's really important to me. That's a non-negotiable for me. So if you're open and you're curious, come to the workshop. Then you'll really get to see the framework. And either way, if the program's for you or not for you, you'll walk away with some insight into how you can really set your business up and yourself up for success, and bringing in more of those people that you're meant to serve. So grab your spot. 3 sessions. First one is Thursday, and we got Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So I hope to see you all there. And Ashley, thank you for just being you and showing up in the world and doing your work in the world and being a part of healing this planet. It's so important, and I'm really grateful to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, beautiful. And I'll have you drop, if anybody knows anyone that sounds like Ashley's who, you can reach out, message Ashley directly. She still has a couple of spots, not for long, I don't think, in her program, because she is setting her own boundaries. One of the things we work on is ensuring that your energy is maintained. So you only have maybe 2 spots left.
Yeah. I have 4 that I'm about to meet with. So there's 4 slots total left. No, yeah. I have 6. I have 6 right now that might sign up. I'm meeting with soon. So, I mean, if they want it, first come, first serve.
That's right. What a great problem. See, Ashley's got 6 people for 4 spots. So that's a beautiful thing. And that's all from just speaking from her heart. And so it works. It works. All right, my friend. Well, thank you, everybody. Sending you all much love and have a beautiful rest of your day. And until next time, just remember, all it takes is a little bit of heart power. We'll see you soon.